everyone, welcome back. It is that time of year again. The G1 tournament is underway. As you can tell by Campo's hat and my shirt here, we are ready to review New Japan's Pro Wrestling's week 1 of the G1 tournament. We are going to be going through nights 1 through 5. So basically the nights from the beginning of the tournament, which was July 13th, all the way up to Saturday, or Friday, I believe it was, July 21st. So we're going to be going up to those 4 nights. Before we get underway, let us welcome back Campo Reviews, the man who reviews movies, TV shows, and a lot of Batman movies, apparently.
Mostly Batman Forever.
Yeah, well, you'll see why when that episode comes out. But with that out of the way, if you haven't already, give me a sub. Doesn't cost you anything, and it keeps us doing these G1 recaps for you. You know what I mean? Wrestling
for the
reviews.
price of a cup of coffee a day, you can help
Right?
a young
In the
boy.
arms of
You can help a young boy live his dream.
But with that out of the way, the format this year has changed. Last year, you had 4 blocks with 7 in each block. This year, you have 4 blocks with 8 in each block. So they added 4 more wrestlers to the group. So with that, the fact that they added 4 more, they changed the format. Instead of the top division winners, the block winners going through and facing each other, you have the top 2 going through and facing each other.
Which I found out yesterday, apparently.
Yeah.
Thanks to him.
So
but I
the
think
winner,
that's a way better idea.
It is. You get more playoffs, and it creates more of a tournament feel to it. Like, so you have the winner of Block A going up against the runner-up of Block C, the winner of Block B going up against the winner of the runner-up in Block D, and then vice versa. C winner against the runner-up in B, and D winner versus the runner-up in A. So this way, you don't get the same matchups all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the B winner and the B runner-up can both make it and won't meet again until the finals. So I think it's a good format that they have this year. A lot of fresh faces in the tournament this year. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're not going to go through all the matches because every night is block matches. It wasn't like last year where they just had 3 or 4 matches per night. This time it was 8 matches, all block matches. So instead of running through all the matches, winners and losers, what we're going to do is we're going to give our highlights, our lowlights, talk about some of our favorite matches, some of the worst matches, most impressive match, the most disappointing match, favorite wrestlers, disappointing wrestlers, all kinds of categories here. And then at the end of the episode, make sure you stay tuned to the end because that's when I will put up the updated score sheet after the end of night 5. I will have the complete standings for you at the end of the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So
we'll give you our predictions there.
Yes, absolutely. The predictions will be at the end. With that out of the way, let's start with some of our favorite matches. Let's do top 3 favorite matches of this tournament so far.
Okay, so we kind of have a criteria.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely cheated the hell out of this, as you know. I capsed a lot, but what I did was I gave a top 3. I have a top 3.
Okay.
So how do you want me to do it? Do you want me to tell you all 3, or do you want me to do just my?
Well,
third?
let's go back and forth.
Okay, so I'll start at 3, and then I'll tell you my honorable mentions later. At 3, I have Naito versus Goto.
Okay.
I thought it was a match with a story to tell. They're both living the same story.
Yes.
I'm never going to be that singles guy again. And they're both nearing the same age. They're at the same point of their...
But Goto still has that gold around his waist that Naito doesn't.
That's true. And they're both highly decorated. Mind you, Goto is kind of forcefully decorated in a tag team division where Naito was once supremely decorated as a solo wrestler and is now just like an afterthought. That's the storyline.
Yeah. He's still the greatest wrestler in the world.
Greatest wrestler of all time. I think Naito versus Goto, that's my number 3.
Okay. Believe it or not, that was my number 2.
Okay.
Favorite match of the tournament.
Well, we're going to have probably all of them the same.
One of my favorites, and he's going to be a person that's going to show up more than once on this list, was Kiyomiya versus Shota Umino as my number 3.
Kiyomiya versus Shota Umino. Okay.
I like the story they're telling with Umino. And Kiyomiya being a newcomer to New Japan, even though he's on loan from Noah, he gave up his spot in the Noah tournament. So next month, Noah has their N1 tournament, and Kiyomiya is the reigning winner for the N1. He gave up his spot in the N1 this year to be in the G1.
Which I think is fair because he's overly pushed Okada style. So it's kind of like
similar. Yeah.
It's kind of like maybe, let someone else win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My number 2 is Shingo Takagi versus Aaron Hanare. I thought like the in-ring work was so good, and it told such a good story, especially because we thought Hanare was like dead after that first match that he had when he got dropped right on his head.
Yeah. What do you think of Hanare's new look with the traditional
It's
Maori?
Weird. I thought he looked okay. I don't know. It's probably not a
It
real
looks
tattoo.
scarier. No, it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It does. He does look. He's the first wrestler ever to have the traditional
Maori
like tattoos in wrestling or something. Or but I really liked his old look. It was kind of like a early 90s Terminator, like a badass look, and I kind of
looked like someone out of like he looked like what the Japanese view as an American hitman in like the Yakuza games.
Yeah, basically. But it's fine. It does look fearsome. I'm just so used to this one look that we kept getting for so long.
With that little mustache.
That it's kind of odd now.
Yeah. It's going to take some getting used to. When I saw it, I was like, whoa.
He also doesn't, I don't know, like, I don't want to say he's not as fit as he was, but he doesn't look as absolutely jacked and like powerful as he did before. He looks like just like a larger person, like a mass now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. So, like I said, I mentioned my number 2 already was your number 3.
Well, go talk about it if you want.
That's another one. So it was a fantastic match. What I don't understand is the thing I still don't get is there's so many other wrestlers, singles wrestlers out there that do your tag champs need to be in the G1 tournament?
I don't know. Okay, we'll get to that, I think, more specifically later, but I do feel like a lot of the names here carry very, very, very little weight.
Yeah.
So, yes, they expanded the thing, but I think there was a lot of people you could have left behind in favor of bringing in someone from Ring of Honor or Impact or, like we do have the 2 guys in
the only 2 outsiders
Eddie
we
Kingston
have are
and Kiyomiya.
And Kiyomiya. Yeah, those are the only 2
you
outsiders.
You could have easily brought in a Ring of Honor wrestler, since you'll hear it in our other review if it came up before this or after this, where Taguchi and Wado are on Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor, yeah.
And they have a good relationship with Impact. You could have had Mike Bailey or someone come show
Mike
up.
Bailey was in the Super Juniors, so that...
I mean, okay, well, just give me a wrestler. So give me any wrestler.
Who would you
Jonathan Gresham. I don't know.
Yeah. Gresham would have worked. He would have worked well. Santino. Can you imagine getting Santino
Josh Alexander, because he has no program right now.
Yeah.
He just
Santino versus Toriano.
Yeah, I'll take it. The worst match of the night, but I'll take it.
Right? It'll be funny as hell, though.
You could have just had it. Joe, you did your thing. Joe Hendry finishes his program, lost his title. Boom, send him over.
Yeah. That could have worked too. Yeah. But, I mean... You're right, though. There's a couple. We'll go through when we go through the standings. There's a couple guys.
There's more stuff too, and like the rest of the criteria kind of stuff that we have here, that we're gonna end up talking about stuff, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to do a different style here because just talking about the matches, 40 matches, even if we just told you who won and lost every match, you're not gonna remember after 2 seconds.
No. So this is a little bit more memorable. It opens up in the comments for discussion as well. So let us know your thought.
For discussion for us.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 1. Ren Narita versus Shooter.
That was mine too. So let's talk about that then. This was so far the match of the tournament.
I don't like the idea that this match has led out, though. Like the storyline idea that they're trying to tell now. I do think that it was a very impressive match. I think Ren Narita looks better than Shooter. This whole tournament, even wins or losses, doesn't matter.
I think they're about the same right now. They have the same record.
It's they're clearly trying to make a 4-way tie between Yoda, Suji, Ren Narita,
Umino,
Shooter, and Kiyomiya.
Kiyomiya.
That's like clearly what they're trying to do. Where in the end, Chase Owens is going to take all the L's, and in the end, Sonata is going to end up with the best score.
Yeah, to make your champ look strong.
And who else? Is there someone else in that group? Is Hikuleo in that group?
Gabe Kidd and Hikuleo. Hikuleo's there to eat all the losses.
Hikuleo has lost every match so far.
Yeah, he's there to eat all the losses.
But we'll talk about that when we get there. Actually, I just think this was a well-worked match. It told a story we weren't ready for. We rarely see ties in the G1 tournament. So to have this,
the fact too, I forgot to mention off the top of the show too, they reduced the time limit. Instead of half an hour time limit, now it's 20-minute time limits for each match because there's just so many that they reduced the time limits as well.
And I think the thing I don't like about it is like I said, I think they're going to play them to be this tie kind of thing.
Because you can hear the way Kevin Kelly and Chris Carlton are talking about the three Musketeers or the three.
We'll call them the modern the new Three Musketeers, and then you can have the last Three Musketeers, and then the old Three Musketeers, and then the OG Three Musketeers, because there's like 4 generations of them.
Yeah.
And
clearly there's big plans, and we were talking about this a few weeks ago with Narita. Like, where does he go from here? Like the Young Lions, we were reviewing our Independence Day, and Narita was not on the show, and it was like they were pushing more Fujita.
Fujita. And then you also have the guy that's in TMDK.
Which one? Koza Fujita.
Oh no, I'm sorry, that's him. Who's the other young lion? Not Oleg.
Oiwa?
Oiwa, yeah.
Oiwa.
They seem very keen on him more even than Fujita.
Yeah.
So but digressing from the point, I think there's a plot device here where I see it where they're going to have a 4-way tie and each one of them has a 1 win over the other person, so they can't just push one guy to the thing, and they're going to have like a 4-way match for whoever wins gets in.
Maybe.
But like I can see it being an upset where Kiyomiya goes through. We'll really keep those predictions for later, but I do see that because I think they want to upset the crowd. You know, and I think they want to get the
crowd. If you heard, they're behind Kiyomiya. They
way
are
more. But Kiyomiya is a very
well known. He's established.
Yeah, you have 3 new guys that are popular, but they're new, and then you have this guy who's been a world champion already multiple times.
Yeah,
so he's a big freaking name, and I don't know. I'm happy about that. So I had some honorable mentions.
Yeah,
I'll just throw them out because I have 3.
Mm-hmm.
I have Will Ospreay versus Kenta. I thought that match was fantastic. I have Yoda Suji against Ren Narita, which I also really liked. That was originally on my top 3, and then I saw Goto versus Naito, and I had to readjust.
My honorable mention is Sonata versus Suji.
Yeah, you like that? I didn't really like that match.
No, I like.
I mean, okay, it wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I didn't like. And
Sonata was good.
Sonata was really good.
Yeah, like he's
and Shooter versus Kiyomiya. I have. Well, you said that, so. But yeah, I really like the Goto Naito match, and it's just
telling the story of 2 aging veterans fighting for one last run.
And yes, Goto had a few good moments in it, but like it's weird to see when it's 2 like established guys like this that Naito throws an absolute beatdown like he did.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but Naito lost the first match, which to me was like, I didn't even understand. I was like, what the hell is happening right now?
When Naito lost the first match, I thought, here we go again. We're telling that story again.
Yeah, and it's dumb Storytown,
and especially to Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, weird. But you know what? They really like Jeff Cobb, and that's fine with me.
They're high on
people,
Cobb.
I won't cry about Cobb.
No,
you know what they're doing? They're gonna make it so 3 years from now, when Cobb makes it to the finals, you're gonna be like, he beat Okada in this one, and he beat Naito in this one.
And he beat Tanahashi in that. Well, he'll probably beat Tanahashi. Yeah.
Okay, so unless
you're Shane Haste, then you lose.
That's true. So I'll just say the next thing because my list's already here. I don't know how you have it ordered, but Most surprising match, I think I want to talk about.
Surprising match. So a match you didn't expect to be good, I guess, that turned out to be a
Or
really
that should have been fine and ended up being like, wow, I enjoyed that match. My number one, I have two. I cheated. I put
sure.
two. But the one I really thought was it's Shingo versus Eddie Kingston. Like
Yes.
I did not expect that match to be good at all,
And that was a really good
and it
match.
was so entertaining.
The other one I got to put down is ELP versus Great Khan.
See, and I did not mind that, but we'll get to a different match at another time. But
Like the meme I sent you.
yeah, Great Khan has wrestled really well in this tournament.
He
Uh,
has.
in his
His
couple of
record doesn't
matches.
show it, but
No, but I think they have to establish a set of wins and losses, right? It's all rigged.
yeah.
But, they have to establish it at the beginning, and then where everything comes down to like the last three matches that someone has, where it's like decisions, right? And then I had
Yeah.
Chase Owens versus Gabe Kidd.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I do not like Gabe Kidd,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody likes Chase Owens,
No.
except actually, I mean, I don't mind him on the mic. I enjoy him,
Yeah.
but he surprised me. I was like, wow, this is a really good match.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
Did you say yours?
I said it was
Oh,
the
ELP versus Great Khan.
Great Khan. Yeah. I want to throw in the Yoshihashi Will Ospreay match in there too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Like I found that to be like I'm not the biggest Yoshihashi fan, and when he went he took the loss on that one, but he went toe to toe with Will, and it was a really decent match.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of changed our tune on him at last year's G1.
Yeah, he
But
impressed at the end of the tournament.
but he does have this thing where now that we've watched so much New Japan, where it's like he's kind of always the same.
Yeah.
But he really did it. That was a good match against Okada. I mean Okada against Will Ospreay.
Will Ospreay, yeah. But
Now, what's next?
I got worst match of so far of the tournament.
I have a tie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weird one. My actual match is Tanahashi versus Shane Haste. I was so absolutely bored. Holy crap, what a bad match.
That one was pretty bad. I got Hikuleo versus Gabe Kidd on that one too.
That's all. That was pretty close. My honorable mention is a cheat. I put every Yano match. They all
mind
sucked.
you, the Yano, which one was it? The Yano versus his second match, I think it was Toru Yano versus Zack Sabre Jr. I found that a little funnier with the mascot. He tapes the legs together. It had more of that Yano silliness, but the
you know
Yano,
who's done really? Oh, actually, we'll get there. I think. What were we on?
this was the worst match so far.
Okay, so most disappointing match. Do you have anything else for worst matches?
No, I'm good with that one.
Most disappointing match, I have ELP versus Okada. I was like, it wasn't the worst match, obviously, but I expected it to be really good, and
a
I
little
watched
closer.
It was kind of like, and if didn't it feels this tournament, and this will come up in a bit, but this tournament feels like they're really not trying to do anything with ELP.
Yeah. I was expecting, especially coming off of last year's tournament and now turning like crowd favorite. I was expecting this really, I wanted ELP and Okada to be the match so far, best match so far in my top three. And it didn't make the cut. It was
obviously not the worst match. It wasn't a
no
garbage match, but it's something I was expecting.
But now they're also telling the story of ELP with the injury now.
See, and I think this will come up, like I said, later, but I did enjoy Great Khan versus ELP. It
the
wasn't
little
in
titty, the nipple twist, and Great Khan's like, yeah.
They have some good comedy together, and I think that really works.
It plays off of like when ELP had those series of matches against Shingo.
We'll probably do this format again, or maybe we'll adjust it, but I think this is only for the first 5 matches or first 5 days. I think people are going to change.
Yeah.
Moving out. But yeah.
The other one I want to add, I think, to that is the I think it was the Shingo against no, it was Which one was it? It was an Okada match, I believe it was. Okada Taichi. That's the one I want to talk about. I found a little disappointing as well.
That was yesterday, right? Or
Mhm.
Friday? Yeah,
Yeah, Fridays, man.
yeah. I watched that just before we started filming, and
Yeah.
I was like, I thought. By the way, I thought I had to watch a whole entire day of wrestling. I thought there was I thought it was on Saturday as well,
No,
but
there
I
wasn't.
misread it. It was Sunday, so I had already watched the
Or
whole.
according to the New Japan website, it's Web July 20.
Oh yeah, there's a few spelling errors actually for the dates. Um, if you really look at them, but anyways,
Yeah, I digress. Yeah, I want to add Okada Taichi. I was expecting something a little bit more. No,
especially
no Takahashi in this tournament.
yeah, a
So
little
that means
bit.
no Peter.
But I think there's reasons. Peter's off doing something if you see her
Yeah.
Instagram, but I think maybe he's injured. Also, the Taichi match before Okada was actually pretty decent. So
Which one was that? The Taichi Osprey or the Taichi Loa?
Taichi Osprey. And then
Yeah,
coming into to this, I was expecting a really good match, and it just wasn't a good.
kind of
Okada
fizzle.
hasn't looked great. I wouldn't have him on my disappointing or wrestler worst, but he hasn't looked great in this.
No, even though he's still undefeated, he hasn't looked the best.
They have to. It's just like this thing.
Yeah.
It's Goofus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, best wrestler.
Best wrestler so far.
Say it at the same time. Ready?
Will Ospreay.
Will Ospreay. That's crazy.
It's
No,
the only.
he's been the best.
Even though he took that loss to Taichi.
But it doesn't matter because he's gonna make it out of the round. We all know. There's two storylines coming here, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about it when we get to the standings. But that's Will Ospreay easily.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's anyone even remotely in that
Close.
category right now.
Yeah.
And it's not based on
Even
Saber.
Even Saber hasn't looked.
The Saber matches have just been there.
Yeah.
Let's be okay. I'll be honest with you. Day one was very disappointing for me.
It was
very
bad. Yeah.
There was like one or two really good matches, and the rest of it was all just stale.
Yeah. The best match was probably Taichi Osprey, and Kiyomiya Yoda Tsuji was pretty good too.
Yeah. Wait.
And that was also
the day
Shooter
with
versus
the Chase Owens match
versus Gabe Kidd.
Yeah, that was a good.
And
one.
that was also Shooter versus Ren.
Yeah, and then the other 4 matches or 3 matches were like really not good.
Like Okada versus Khan and
like I don't know, man.
Sonata versus Hikuleo. Like Sonata, but Hikuleo.
So okay, so who's the most surprising wrestler for you so far?
Jeff Cobb.
Really? I got 2. And this is a real tie. This is not just me shouting things out.
And I want to see Narita too.
Okay. My Ren Narita and Chase Owens. Like,
yeah.
I can't believe how good Chase Owens has been in all the matches.
But it seems like every time we watch the G1, there's someone we don't really flies under the radar that always impresses us. Last year it was Finley and it was ELP that impressed us last year.
Yeah, and Yoshihashi.
Yeah. And even Khan, we started becoming great old Khan fans because that's when they started telling the story. Oh, he saved 17 puppies while crossing the street.
But he really did all those things.
Yes, he did.
It's crazy. He's a superhero.
Just like what's his name, Tony Nese.
Yeah, Tony Nese.
He saved the dog and got hit by a car because he saved a puppy crossing the street or something.
You know what? Great O'Khan is the emperor of the fried chicken. Something.
Yes.
Okay.
Fried chicken.
I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, they put the chicken of the emperor of the Karage or something.
The emperor of the Karatsu something empire. Anyways,
it kind of looks like an Asian Colonel Sanders. I can see that.
Yeah. He's the Mongolian
Colonel
Japanese.
Sanders.
He's the Japanese guy playing a Mongolian guy, Colonel Sanders.
Sanders. I like that.
Oh, freak. Okay. Most disappointing wrestler.
ELP.
ELP.
ELP. I was expecting more.
I'm good. I added this one in last minute because I wouldn't necessarily immediately have been like, that's disappointing. But like when you think about how long Tonga Loa has not been there for to have him come back as his big return in the G1 tournament. And bro, he can't even move.
Yeah. I want to add this, even though he hasn't taken a loss. David Finlay, his 2 matches have not impressed me.
He's also the rest of the Bullet Club has so much heat right now that he doesn't have any heat. Did you notice that?
Yeah, Kid and Coughlin have all the heat.
Kid Coughlin and the other 2 war dogs,
Connors,
the 4 dogs of war.
The four
horsemen. They have all the heat.
Mm-hmm.
David Finlay has none of the heat.
He seems like an afterthought right now.
But yeah, it's like ELP, man. Mm-hmm. And it's not, listen, this is not based on someone's wrestling ability. It's the way they're telling us the story and the way they're structuring the matches that those wrestlers are in, right? Like we've praised ELP for weeks and weeks, months even.
He had a fantastic match against Stu Grayson at Forbidden Door.
And it's like, after last year, he was so good in last year's tournament. And I know they're playing up the injury, but I'm not letting that go.
And he was on such a hot streak too. That's the thing.
I'm not letting it go. Like I'm not buying that.
And the thing is, and the thing too, he's still got to face, who does he still have to face? Ospreay and Okada. So clearly, you know, unless he pulls up an upset and beats Okada or Ospreay.
Didn't he face Okada? Didn't we just talk about that?
Yeah, he did.
ELP faced Okada.
Okay, but he still has to face Tai Chi.
Wait, does he?
No, like he still has to face Tai Chi, I think, and Ospreay.
He should have like 4 matches left.
Yeah. So he lost to Yoshihashi, lost to Okada, and he lost to Great Okan. He still has to face Tai Chi, Kenta, Ospreay, Loa, and yeah. So he'll probably beat Tonga Loa.
Yeah.
He'll
probably only beat Loa.
I think he might pull off the upset against Kenta. Play spoiler to Kenta.
I will see, because like the standings are created in such an awkward fashion. Which we're gonna talk about that literally in like 2 seconds. Who's the worst wrestler?
Yano. Coughlin.
Yeah, okay. Yano is just like, I don't even want to watch the matches. I know there's like a funness to it, but it's like with all the stuff I have to watch, I don't want to waste time watching this match.
It would be like having a King of the Ring right now. If you have a King of the Ring right now and you put Jey Uso in it, you put Kevin Owens in it, you put Drew McIntyre in it, and
then Baron Corbin is in it?
But not, or R-Truth would be the equivalent, I guess, would be, or Titus O'Neil or something.
Yeah. It's rough. It also, I'll just shout out, like, this is not a shout out. This is like the reverse of a shout out. Hikuleo looks trash. Like, not even, he was never good enough that it would be in my most disappointing wrestler.
Yeah.
He's fine.
He's just not there yet.
He's not there. He has looked so bad in this tournament.
Yeah.
Whoa. He's lost all 3.
And he'll probably go winless because he still has to face Narita. He still has to face Shooter, and he still has to face Tsuji.
There's some kind of storyline happening with
Kiyomiya
for sure. There's some kind of storyline with him losing that's gonna like tell a story.
Tell a story? Okay.
It has to.
I know they're also building up to Taichi Okada for the KOPW.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't want that though.
I don't want big name wrestlers in the KOPW category. I want Taichis, I want Shingos, I want ELPs, I want Great Okan. That's who I want in the KOPW.
Yeah.
People, Jeff Cobbs, people that are stuck in this mid card who
need something to hold them over.
Yeah, especially when they're not in the running to get the TV title. Yeah. I think that they should. KOPW keeps you.
Speaking of the TV title, that title means nothing right now. It was just a title to give to Zack Sabre Jr.
Greatly defended. And it has an aura of prestige around it because of that, but it also feels irrelevant because no one's ever going to win it off him.
No. It'll feel special once somebody does, but
I think they got to go after this long reign. They got to go like 2 or 3 people hot potato before they let someone hold it again for a while.
Why don't they do with have someone like say Yota Tsuji beat him, and then have it bounce around between Tsuji, Narita, and Umino,
and then let one of them, the last person who wins it, hold it for a while.
Doesn't Umino have a rematch against? Like he can challenge. They said they're going to challenge him again, right? Because Umino's already taken the loss to Zack.
They're clearly going to build to like I said, if it's not in this tournament, at the next pay-per-view, there's going to be a 4-way match between Kiyomiya, Shooter, Narita, and Tsuji.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like I have that vibe that they're trying to tell some kind of story between them.
Yeah, but I
But
like it.
I mean, so okay, you want to
It's
do
yeah, it's been like, I mean, let's talk a little bit more. If there's any other thoughts you have on the tournament, like it's been good so far. Just
the good parts of it have been amazing.
yeah,
But it's just there's so much filler, and I understand why, but it's too much.
yeah. And after coming off the was it the Battle of Super Juniors, which was just like fantastic.
There was very few bad matches for that whole
Yeah.
tournament.
And then like here you had a couple, not, I don't want to say horrible matches, but not good matches.
It's not even so much like I said that the wrestlers are bad. It's the way they're structuring the specific stories for these wrestlers in
Yeah.
their block, and then the match that they're putting on.
Yeah.
Like like yes, okay, the match is not good. I know these guys can wrestle, so what's happening here? It's like, oh, you're gonna lose. Okay, you have 8 minutes to lose. Okay, what do we do? I don't care. I'm losing anyways.
I'm losing.
Let's
Yeah,
just get it
that
over with.
seems like what like for example, Hikuleo versus Sonata. That's what it felt like. I'm gonna lose anyway, so I'm not gonna put the effort into it. Just
Yeah,
beat me.
it felt like just we'll waste 8 minutes of time. You know what match was really like that?
Mm.
What was the final match on Friday?
Sonata versus Suji.
Sonata versus Suji literally felt like a lot of just resting. Like a lot of it was just pausing. And I
Yeah.
was like, what is happening?
The one I was surprised about was I think night 4. That was the night you had Naito versus Hiroki Goto as the second last match, and then your main event was Tamatonga versus Tomohiro Ishii.
Every Tama Tonga match so far has been boring. Not
Yes.
bad, not disappointing, just boring.
Boring. Where last year they told this great story with him and his in-ring work was fantastic. How he went from like the bottom of the standings to the end to like beating Okada at the end.
Here's the thing. His beef with Bullet Club doesn't exist with any of the members that are left in Bullet Club. Because there's no
Jay White.
Bad Luck is not there, and there's no Jay White. So
the only one that's left is Chase.
Yeah, because Kenta didn't even really have a problem. I mean,
no, if you notice, Kenta doesn't come out to anything Bullet Club anymore.
But he's still technically in Bullet Club.
Yes, but
I agree. Now he's called the Bad Review or something, or whatever it's called, Review Fang.
Yeah. So he's clearly he's transitioning to a new character, Kenta. So he's gonna slowly be phased out of Bullet Club. And maybe this might tell a story because Kenta and Phantasmo still have a match to come up. Maybe this forms a new tag team.
That's what I think. I think Kenta is going to get shifted to the tag team division. That it's funny that you said that. That was genuinely my thought.
Yeah. Maybe ELP might be. I heard talks about ELP moving to Impact.
I heard that ELP is going to move to a North American company.
Yeah. So I think maybe this leads to the match with versus Kenta, because Kenta is the Defiant champion, right?
Yeah.
And that's what, the Pacific Northwest. What if ELP beats him for that belt, and then, you know, his contract is done with New Japan and he moves to, say, Impact, but still has like the freedom to do like indie shows and stuff like that. That would be the perfect option for him. And he's a Northwest guy, right? He's from British Columbia, right? So
and you could create matches against Swerve out of that, like outside of AEW.
Yeah. I don't know. That might work. But so with that, we are going to go check out the standings. So give me a moment here. And that's not it.
Hey,
where is it now? Hey,
Morgan,
there we go. There you go. There's Diablo for you, right? This is all live, guys. Okay, there's your standings.
Yeah, I know who sent that Liv Morgan gif. It was me.
It was Putty.
It was me.
I know.
Okay, but so here's
our standings.
Let me caveat this.
Mm-hmm.
I have not once looked at the standings. Any numbers I told you during that was just me remembering how many matches they lost.
Yes.
I had no idea who was in what groups. So this is all fresh to me. I've not made any predictions yet. I didn't even know, like I said, about the way the breakdown was. So when we make these predictions, this is literally coming off the top
Well,
of
I've
my
been
head.
updating this every day after every show.
So you have a lot.
But
You're probably going to have a better feel for what's going to
but
happen here.
I'm going with the picks that I've had before the tournament started. I'm not letting the standings cloud my picks.
Well, I didn't even know who was going to be in what block, so my feelings of before can't really help. But I storyline wise, I have two ideas, like I said.
Yeah. So let's start with Group A. Who's going to be your winner here?
Sonata.
Yeah, I'm the same. I knew Sonata was going to take this group.
And I think there's going to be a four-way between everyone else.
Yeah, Chase Owens, I think, is going to drop a little bit, and
Chase Owens, Gabe Kidd, and Hikuleo are all. Well, Hikuleo's already at the bottom.
I think one, Kiyomiya, Narita, Umino, and Tsuji, like you said, will end up in a four-way tie somehow, with say someone like Umino taking it at the end.
Yeah, and that's I don't have whatever happens in this division has no reverence on where I think this tournament is going. So that's
to me, I'm still sticking with my original pick. I'm going with Sonata and Kiyomiya as the two finalists.
I'll say Sonata, and it doesn't matter who else.
Okay. Group B.
Group B is going to be Okada and Will Ospreay.
Yes, I think is that the final match of the tournament? Ospreay versus Okada.
I don't know. I never looked at the match breakdown.
Okay, so I think this may be the final match, and these two are going to be tied going into it, and Ospreay is going to beat Okada in the end.
Okay, and he'll take the top spot.
He'll take the top spot, and Okada goes number 2.
Okay,
that's my pick,
and
that's how I see it. This one's surprising.
Evil has actually been pretty good. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, that's why I said that's surprising.
Okay, so this is what I honestly think here. I Finley is gonna go. And
that's my pick for the runner-up.
I'm gonna say that it's gonna be Hanare.
Yeah, he's gonna go on a tear.
I think so.
Yeah, because last year he impressed us.
I think they're trying to give him like a push. Like, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere.
Yeah,
but he's gonna get a push.
Okay, fair enough. Group D.
Zack Sabre Jr. and Naito.
You know what? I was gonna say Naito wins the thing, and I was gonna say Sabre in second. But after seeing Jeff Cobb, I think I might pick Jeff Cobb to go and Naito.
Yeah, I think the story. Sorry.
Norris.
I think the story they're gonna tell with Naito is that he's gonna make a comeback. He's not gonna finish first in the group. He's gonna finish second, but he's gonna work his way into the next round, and then the next round, and then it's gonna go that way. And okay, so we said we basically have a similar thing except Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
And you maybe Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
But I think there's two outcome storylines here that they're gonna push. Either Will Ospreay's gonna win.
Okay.
He's gonna go to Wrestle Kingdom. He's gonna beat Sonata, and he's gonna get put into a program with Naito, where Naito will eventually win the title back, and that will be his last hurrah.
So if that's the case, when does Will Ospreay lose the U.S. Championship?
Probably anywhere between now and Wrestle Kingdom. In like,
I know there's another match. I know there's rumblings of Omega Okada 3 at All In.
Yeah, there is that too, right? But digress. Just I think that's a possible storyline, right? And I think the other possible storyline is Naito wins the G1, gets his last G1 win, goes to Wrestle Kingdom, tells the story of beating Sonata, and then immediately gets put into a program back with Will Ospreay. Because this is my thing, right? Either way you look at that, Naito has a beef with Will Ospreay already from last year, so that's a story that works.
And he has a beef with Sonata for
and
leaving.
he has a beef with Sonata. So I think the Sonata winning, then beating, or Naito winning, then beating Sonata for the title, and maybe Naito faces Will Ospreay in the finals of this and wins. Right? And then that continues that story. So then when he finishes his Just Five Guys story as the champion, then he's the one that hands it off to Will Ospreay to go on his epic long run of world champion, right? And that also gives Will Ospreay time to lose the US title.
Yeah. I kind of like that idea.
I think those are the most two plausible stories, because the only other story here, like actual story, is somehow Okada wins again. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you really look at the breakdown, what other story is there to tell?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. If Naito finishes second here and Ospreay wins, they face each other in the quarterfinals.
Yes, but if Will Ospreay comes in second and Naito comes in second,
then they won't meet again until the finals. Right? Yeah.
You could tell that story even. You can have Will Ospreay lose to Okada in that last match, and then have Okada get upset in the first round of the playoffs by Naito or something, you know?
Yeah. And he goes on this tear.
Or you let Okada go to the semis with Naito and have Naito beat Okada. There's a lot of potential for good quality stuff. It's just match or storyline wise, there's only 3 stories: Will Ospreay versus Naito versus Sonata, or Ospreay versus Sonata. Other than that, there's no, and Sonata and Will Ospreay only exist because he's the champion.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's really only the Naito,
those
Sonata,
2 storylines. Yeah.
Then,
I mean, there's a sub storyline. There's a sub storyline that doesn't really involve any titles between the 3 youngsters.
Right, but I don't think that's going anywhere. It's not this G1.
No,
not in my G1, baby.
That's in the years to come.
But that will happen.
Yes,
I promise you, all 3 of them will win a G1 tournament.
Yeah, I would say within the next 5 years, we'll at least see Shooter or Narita win a G1.
One of them is going to go to Noah and win the N1 tournament at some point.
Yeah, I could see that. And they're saying too how they're mirroring, like, Yota Tsuji is very much like that Naito type of character. Narita is very much that Shibata type of character, and Umino is all Tanahashi.
Yeah, in a way, I can fully agree with that. I think in terms of personality, Tsuji is a lot more like Tanahashi, and Shooter is a lot more like Naito.
Yeah.
But it's the way that they're being
portrayed in ring
is opposite, right? Because it's like, I know we always talk about this, but it was I mean, you had, what was it? Keiji Muto, Great Muta.
Yeah.
And then Masahiro Chono, and I always forget the other
Sonny
Ono. Not Ricky Chozu. It's
Sonny Ono, wasn't it?
No. The third
pillar.
The third guy. It wasn't the Pillars. The Pillars is All Japan.
Yeah.
It's I can't remember his name. And then you had Shibata,
Nakamura.
Who?
It wasn't it Nakamura with Shibata?
Oh yeah, Shibata, Nakamura, and
Tanahashi.
And then you had Will Ospreay. You had Kenny Omega, Naito, and Okada. Was like the next wave. And Goto was like the bastard child in between that like never got the proper one way or the other.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, actually, you know what? In the late, you have another team that we didn't even think about. You had Tenzan, Kojima, and Nagata. That was like in between the OGs and then like the old.
The next wave,
yeah.
Anyway.
So there's been 5 Three Musketeers teams, really.
Yeah. So with a few others thrown in between.
There's been the in-betweeners, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like now it's fully Tsuji. Shooter,
these are their 3 that they're focusing on for the future, with Will Ospreay being their major gaijin wrestler.
Yeah, and he doesn't fall into that category. He's like the bastard child. He's like the Goto of this era, right? And then going forward, you have the other guys that are going to end up being that, which is Fujita and
Lube.
Oiwa. Yeah.
Lube, Oscar Lube.
And maybe Bolton Oleg if they ever
Bolton
decide
Oleg
to use him
properly.
But
okay.
you know what? There's a storyline to be told there where you put those two in Bullet Club. Like a future incarnation of Bullet Club. Like they come in and they beat up David Finlay and they take over.
They take over as a team,
right? Yeah.
I could see that. I like that when David Finlay's ready to go.
David Finlay is going to be a major player at some point.
Yeah.
Either that or he's going to go to WWE.
Yeah, I could see him going to WWE. Sheamus's younger brother.
He's the kind of wrestler they would like.
Yeah.
The problem is he doesn't have the clout of a Cody Rhodes to be like, this is what I'm doing. He's going to end up getting shoehorned in, like you said, as like an Irish guy, even though he's not like
he's going to be part of like with the Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland and all those guys.
It's funny. He has a thing that he said where he's like, well, what was it? I'm pretty sure it's like, I'm too white for the Japanese, I'm too American for the Irish, and I'm too Irish for the American.
Yeah. Can you do an accent? All right, good. You're with Sheamus.
Yeah, got my shillelagh. But yeah, there's potential here.
Yeah.
And I think the last like 3 days of this tournament are going to be crazy, and then the playoffs are going to be crazy.
And I like the format now with the new playoffs too.
Because then we'll get one day will be 4 matches.
Yeah.
And then will it be 4? Yeah. One day will be 4 matches, and then there'll be a semifinals day, and then there will be a finals day.
Yeah. So that'll make it easier. That'll be one episode.
Yeah.
So that makes it easier for us. So with that out of the way, guys, thanks again for joining us. Let us know in the comments below. Have you been watching the G1? Go through our categories. Who's been your favorite performer so far? Which has been your favorite match so far? Which has been your worst match? Let us know in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up for that like to keep that algorithm going. And if you haven't already, like I said at the beginning of the show, just give me a sub and we'll get more of these out to you next week. So with that out of the way, thanks again for joining us. In the words of Kenny Omega, goodbye and good night.